Christopher Nolan just spent $250 million adapting a poem that's almost 3,000 years old, and it just broke box office records. But here's the thing. If you walk into that theater without knowing the story, you're going to miss half of what's happening. So here's the entire Odyssey, explained in under 10 minutes. Let's go. Our story starts where another one ends. The Trojan War. 10 years of Greeks fighting Trojans over, essentially, a really bad breakup. The Greeks finally win thanks to one guy's idea: hide soldiers inside a giant wooden horse. That guy? Odysseus, king of Ithaca. Remember two things about him. He's not the strongest hero, he's the smartest, and the gods are watching. War's over. Everyone sails home. For Odysseus, the trip back to Ithaca should take a few weeks. It takes 10 years. Here's why. Odysseus leaves Troy with 12 ships and hundreds of men. Spoiler. It does not go well. First stop that matters. The island of the Lotus Eaters. The locals share a flower that makes you forget everything. Home, family, the mission. Some of the crew eat it and instantly stop caring about ever leaving. Odysseus has to drag his own men back to the ships, crying. Next, the island of the Cyclopes. Odysseus and 12 men explore a cave full of cheese and sheep. Problem? The cave belongs to Polyphemus, a one-eyed giant, who eats people. Polyphemus seals the entrance with a boulder so heavy that no human can move it, and starts eating the crew, 2 men per meal. So, Odysseus does what Odysseus does. He thinks. He gets the giant drunk on strong wine, and when Polyphemus asks his name, he answers, "Nobody." When the giant passes out, they sharpen a huge wooden stake and drive it into his one eye. Polyphemus screams for help, "Nobody's attacking me," and the other Cyclopes go, "Well, sounds like a you problem." That's it. That's the trick. It's the oldest recorded dad joke in Western literature, and it saves everyone's life. They escape by hiding under the giant's own sheep as he lets them out to graze. Genius. 10 out of 10. No notes. And then Odysseus ruins everything. Sailing away, his ego kicks in, and he shouts his real name. "It was I, Odysseus, who blinded you." Huge mistake. Because Polyphemus has a dad, and his dad is Poseidon, god of the sea. The exact sea Odysseus needs to cross to get home. Poseidon curses him. This trip is about to become hell. Remember this moment? It's the engine of the whole story. Next, the wind god Aeolus gives Odysseus a magical bag containing every bad wind. With only the good wind left blowing, the fleet sails straight home. They get so close they can literally see Ithaca. But while Odysseus sleeps, the crew opens the bag, convinced it's full of gold. Every storm wind escapes at once and blows them all the way back. They were minutes from home. Minutes. Then it gets worse. The Laestrygonians, giants, cannibals. They bombard the fleet with rocks and destroy 11 of the 12 ships. 11 ships, gone. 1 left. Next island, Circe, a witch. She invites the crew to dinner and turns them into pigs, because why not? Odysseus, protected by a magic herb from the god Hermes, resists her spell. Impressed, Circe turns everyone back, and then Odysseus stays on her island for a full year, living his best life. His crew has to remind him they have somewhere to be. Before leaving, Circe tells him he must do one small thing: visit the land of the dead. Casual. There, a dead prophet warns him. You'll make it home, maybe, alone, if your crew doesn't touch the cattle of the sun god. Foreshadowing. Massive foreshadowing. Then come the Sirens, creatures whose song makes sailors crash into the rocks. Odysseus plugs his crew's ears with wax, but has himself tied to the mast so he can listen. First man in history to hear the sirens and live. Also, possibly the first man to say, "I can handle it," and mean it. Next, a strait guarded by 2 monsters. Scylla, 6 heads, eats men. Charybdis, a whirlpool that swallows entire ships. Odysseus picks Scylla, lose 6 men instead of everyone. Being a leader means doing horrible math. Then, starving and stranded, the crew does the one thing they were told not to do. They eat the sun god's sacred cattle. Zeus responds with a thunderbolt. The ship is destroyed. Every single crew member dies. Odysseus survives alone, floating on wreckage. He washes up on the island of Calypso, a nymph who falls in love with him and keeps him there for 7 years. She even offers him immortality. He says no. He sits on the beach and cries, looking at the sea, thinking of home. Finally, the gods intervene. Athena, Odysseus' biggest fan, convinces Zeus to force Calypso to let him go. He builds a raft. Poseidon, still furious, destroys it. But Odysseus washes ashore one last time, rescued by a friendly kingdom, the Phaeacians. He tells them his whole story, which, fun fact, is how the poem actually delivers everything you just heard, as one giant flashback, and the Phaeacians finally sail him home, 10 years late. Because here's what Odysseus doesn't know. Back home, everyone thinks he's dead, and 108 men have moved into his palace, eating his food, drinking his wine, each demanding to marry his wife, Penelope. Penelope is the real MVP of this story. She promises to choose a husband once she finishes weaving a burial shroud. She weaves all day and secretly unweaves it every night. She keeps this scam running for 3 years. Their son Telemachus, a baby when Odysseus left, is now 20 and sails off to find news of his father. In the movie, that's Tom Holland. Odysseus finally lands on Ithaca, but he doesn't run home. 20 years of trauma taught him one thing: trust no one. Athena disguises him as an old beggar. Walking to his own palace, one creature recognizes him instantly: Argos, his dog, now ancient, who waited 20 years. He wags his tail one last time and dies. Yes, Homer put a dog death in his poem 2,800 years ago. Humanity has never recovered. Inside, the suitors mock and abuse the old beggar. They have no idea they're bullying the most dangerous man in Greece, in his own house. Then Penelope announces a contest. She'll marry whoever can string Odysseus' old bow and shoot an arrow through 12 axe heads. Every suitor tries, every suitor fails. Nobody can even bend the bow. Then the old beggar asks for a turn. Everyone laughs. He strings it effortlessly, like a musician tuning an instrument, and sends an arrow through all 12 axes. The disguise drops. Dogs! You thought I'd never return. The doors are locked. The weapons are hidden, and the second contest begins. Odysseus, Telemachus, and 2 loyal servants take on all 108 suitors. It is not a fight, it is a massacre. Homer describes it in detail. Nolan shooting this in IMAX is the reason this movie is rated R. But the best scene comes after. Penelope, cautious after 20 years of scammers, tests him one final time. She orders a servant, "Move our bed out of the bedroom for him." Odysseus explodes. "Impossible. I built that bed myself around a living olive tree. It can't be moved." Only the real Odysseus could know that. Penelope finally breaks down and embraces him. After 20 years, he's home. And that's the Odyssey, a war hero who takes 20 years to come home, losing everything on the way except the one thing that matters, the reason to keep going. Nolan based his film on Emily Wilson's modern translation and chose a grounded, realistic take on the myth, so expect some changes, but now you know the map. If this saved your movie night, subscribe. Next up, the Trojan War itself, and why a single golden apple started the whole thing. See you there.